Uh, my name is Rorian. I'm 23 years old, and I just wanted to make a video expressing my life story thus far. Show where I was, where I wasn't, where I am right now. I guess this video is mostly for me to look back on. Um, I guess like most people I know, I haven't had an easy life. Most people don't have an easy life. Um, but for some reason, my life, I, I, I never understood myself. I never looked at what was happening to me or like the situations I was getting myself into or really planning things through when I was going through them. Like I wasn't thinking of situations at the time. I was always distracted in my own mind, so I couldn't really see what was going in front of me, and that caused me a lot of hurt and pain. Um, let's start. Let's start when I was a kid. Um, the earliest memory I have of my parents. I was in elementary school, and I remember my mom and dad were always arguing about money or girls or something. This was like their biggest argument I remember. My mom, I think, threw something at him or hit him. My dad, he picked up a mop bucket that she was using to clean, and he threw it at her. She ducked, and it hit the wall behind her. And on that wall was a calendar I had for school, which I really cared about for some reason. So when I saw that, I got up and I cursed him out. Little kid, elementary school. I cursed him out, and I went to go punch him, and then he caught my punch, and then that's all I really remember of that memory. And I have another one where he's on his knees begging, crying for her not to take me away from him, to not quote unquote break up the family. That's the earliest memory I have of my parents. Um, I grew up in a household where or household and family where like you couldn't really express yourself, and if you did, there was something wrong with you. So I would go to my mom and be like, I was getting bullied a lot in school, and I go to my mom and she would be like, just ignore it, just deal with it. I remember in sixth grade, this is a girl I was in love with. I don't For some reason I just liked her so much. And then it got out, and then we were best friends at the time, and it got out that I liked her because just one of my friends at the time I told everyone. Um, April Fool's Day came around, and she came up to me saying she wanted a date, she wanted to do all this, and I was happy because hey, I'd liked this girl for a while. I didn't say nothing, and she feels the same way. As soon as I said yeah, sure, the whole class stood up and just yelled April Fools and like pointing, laughing. Um, and I think that that day, like even though I was a kid, I carry that memory throughout like my entire life, and I think that's one of the reasons why I have such trust issues with people now. Like I don't let anyone in. I don't let anyone really know me 'cause I'm scared of them hurting me. Or um then middle school, this is like later on in middle school, I became friends with someone who used to bully me when I was in elementary school. And one day I just remembered like everything that I went through in elementary school, and I said I wanted to stop being friends with him. His close friend at the time heard about this and saw me walking towards the East River to just to go. I used to go there since I was a kid. I still go there just to relax and calm down because I was upset around that time. And he saw me, said that you should apologize, trying to force me to be friends with him again. And I was like, it's not for me, whatever. I ended up cursing that guy out, and then he followed me to the East River and like beat me up basically. I was a fat small kid at the time, and he was taller, older than me. So I got my ass beat. Um, yeah. Uh, then this is around eighth, ninth grade. Became friends with these people who lived down the block from me. They, his name was Jordan. That was like my best friend. Me and him would always hang out. We started smoking weed together and all this stuff. Um, his family wasn't good though. Neither were the people he was around. He was around a lot of blood members and murderers and killers and really bad people. And I was around this time when I first met them, hanging out with them. I was like 13, 14. And because I was hanging out with him, I saw a lot of stuff, a lot that made me appreciate my situation a lot more. Like him and his two brothers would share the same Chinese food. They'll go days without eating sometimes. Um, a bunch of stuff. And at the time, I didn't have friends. I was very socially awkward. That was like my only friend group that I had. So I think I was scared of losing that. So I endured more than an average person would to try to keep that friendship alive. Like I would get by his brothers, like beat up, smacked, jumped, ridiculed, hazed, like every single day for years. Uh, One day, I was in high school. I had again, just I grew up in a household that you didn't really talk about your emotions. I didn't understand my own emotions. Like I grew up not understanding why I was upset or why I felt a certain way towards someone. There was this girl named Brianna that I was in middle school with, and she became like my best friend in like the first year of high school. We'd go to McDonald's together. I'd take a train with her, hang out after school, just have fun, go to the park. Um, I ended up really liking her, and I caught feelings for her. But I didn't like at the time, and I'm not gonna lie. Now I hated myself. Um, so I couldn't see why anyone would feel the same way I felt about them. So when I've had those feelings, I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know how to express them. So I started pushing her away, and I became kind of an asshole towards her, even though she didn't do nothing wrong to me. Just because I couldn't understand what I was feeling, and I was too scared to let that be shown. Um, I kind of blew up where she got like really sad and she didn't understand what was going on, so she went to teachers and her mom. So they did like a mediation in the office, um, and I kind of blew up, and they had security had to get me back into the classroom, and I ended up just leaving for the day. And that was the first day I smoked. I smoked weed at 14 years old. And the friend group I had, which were like assholes, they were like pleading for me, "Don't do it. You know, you're a good kid. You're smart. You teach us everything." Which at the time I was. Not that I teach them everything in life, but like they needed to have a question or something. I was always the person with the knowledge, so they just didn't want me, who they saw as a good kid, to go follow their path. But I didn't care. I didn't. I just wanted to stop feeling what I was feeling. And then being the assholes that they were, they got me the weed. They put me in a hot box in the bathroom with all of them, and I just smoked. And then I felt calm. So now then it became like an everyday thing where I smoked every single day, 2 blunts, 3 blunts. Started taking edibles. I started drinking. I started taking lean at like 15 years old. Um, and one day around when I was 14, it was around my birthday. I had just gotten in an argument with I think I don't know if it was my mother. No, it was my old best friend. That his best friend ended up beating me up early in this video I was talking about. We got into some argument, and I just went to ride my bike around the neighborhood. I was high. I didn't have glasses on. I ended up taking the Williamsburg Bridge going down to Manhattan. Um, I just remember pedaling like so fast, like going downhill. Like I could feel like the wind hitting my face. Just kept on going, kept on going. And I looked to the skyline and I just let go of the handlebars. I don't know why I did that. Um, I think at the time I was just overwhelmed with emotions I didn't understand. The handlebars got stuck on the railing on the right side of the bike lane. I went airborne. I had no helmet on, by the way. I slammed my face into the cement. My front teeth, bottom teeth all loose. My lip, upper lip destroyed. Uh, then I rolled, um, and then my arm got stuck underneath my stomach. I was a big kid at the time. I was like 300 pounds. And I crushed my arm and broke both bones in my arm. Um, and then I knocked out, and I woke up and like a pool of blood all over my face. I couldn't move anything. I felt the train going by on the bridge, and I called my mom and I told her, hey, like I didn't have a phone at the time. It was broken. There was like some passersbys, and this really nice lady helped me out. She gave me the phone to call my mom. I told her what happened, and she cursed me out. She's like, "You're a dumb motherfucker. Why the fuck did you do this? You're a fucking idiot. This is what you get." Da, da, da." While I'm on the ground, fucking bleeding with a broken arm and a concussion, it's like, uh, I got rolled down to the hospital, and with that, I ended up having over the course of like 2 years, 3 years, three surgeries for my arm. I have a metal plate in there now with a couple screws, scars all the way all over my arm. Um, I have like nerve damage and tissue damage in my arm too. That's how bad I broke it. I mangled it, so I can't feel like certain parts of my arm. Um, Fast forward, the last surgery, I take bone marrow from my hip and put in my arm because I was missing bone after they took out the stents or something, and I was having pain in my arm. So I was like in crutches and like another cast. I started healing up. I was hanging out with my friends again. Around this time, this is when I left school. I dropped out. I just couldn't deal with what I was dealing with, and no one really could help me. I was also on medications too around this time. Um, I was on and I was also in anger management because they thought I was just upset, but they didn't really know what was going on with me. Things started looking up for me. This is really cute girl that I always had like a small crush on, but she always either lived too far away or we were different classes or she had a boyfriend, so I didn't, I'm not that kind of guy to intervene. And again, I didn't know how to express any of these emotions. Um, I was calling her through texting, and then one day when I was outside with my friends, she's like, "Hey, come over, we can come smoke and everything." So I was like, "Yeah, let's go do that." I went up to my boy's house to buy some weed from him, and at this time we were all hanging out. They're already outside hanging out by his block. The girls were like, I take a train to get to them, so I was like, you know what? Let me go get some weed, and we can hang out, whatever. I went upstairs to go get some weed. I came downstairs, and on this block, there's blood members who live at a certain like trap house that we hang out in front of. So when I was upstairs, something happened with my guys and them up there. Where like it ended up someone throwing a brick at their window. It didn't break it, but it was still like stupid of my friends to do that. So when I came down, they all pointed at me because I guess they wanted to test me and see if I broke. And I said it's not me. That they wanted me to apologize, so then they come down and beat my ass. So these are like grown men, like fucking 30, 40, 50. I'm 14 years old. I'm telling them like, hey, it's not me. I just went upstairs to get some weed. I just came back down here. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So he's like, who was it then? I say, I don't know. And even if I did, I'm not gonna, snitch on them. It's not my place. Them men, they say who did it. Not, it is what it is. So, and that helped became a big thing. And then we started play fighting downstairs with my friends on like the stairs. Again, I was a bigger guy. I took a wrong step down the stairs and tore my ACL. I heard a big crack, and I fell down. I couldn't get back up. Uh, then I had to carry myself to my house. My knee became like the size of my head. I couldn't shower. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get up. I went to sleep, and the next morning the pain was unbearable. Like my knee grew like 3 times the size now. So they had to call an ambulance for me to take me to the hospital. And while they were taking me the ambulance down the stairs, I was like passing out because that's how bad the pain was. Not only did I tear my ACL, I had a fracture in my knee too. Like that's how bad I hurt it. Um, I never got surgery for it. I never did anything except put a just a little stint on for like a week or 2 weeks. Um, then that's when I stopped talking to them. 'Cause I took that as a sign for me to get away from them. Because I've seen like every time I was in the hospital for an injury, something bad will happen to them. Like there'll be a drive by, or there'll be like a big jumping, or there'll be something bad happen. So I felt like my injuries were saving me from dying or like getting into a worse situation. So I decided to cut them off. I haven't talked to them since I tore my ACL, and it's gonna be 10 years. Um, and I got really depressed because at this time I was like 15, 16. I didn't have any friends at all. Uh, I didn't talk to my father or my family at all. I stayed home. I gained a lot of weight, got up past 200 pounds. And I hated myself. I would cry almost every single day at night because I just couldn't understand like what my purpose was or my life was going or anything like that. Then I met Forrest. I already knew him for a couple years, but I didn't really know him. You know, he was Melissa's boyfriend, my cousin's boyfriend. One day they invited me to North Carolina with them, and I went, and that's when I got to really like him. At this time, we probably played Fortnite here and there a couple times together. But this is where, like, this I looked up to him. Like, I saw him as a figure to to look up to. You know, he, he's been through a lot, and he still, stays strong for his family. So that's something I wanted to like be able to take a lot and still be able to take care of myself. So we became close. After that, um, then a couple months later, went to Pennsylvania where my cousin's mother and father live. They have a house out there, and he just told me about Costco, like everything about Costco, and like how he got there, why he needs the job, and how he knew I was looking for a job, and he would get me in there or help me get an interview at least. And I told him, hey, you do that, I'll make sure to bust my ass as long as I'm in there, just because I can't disappoint you, and I can't disappoint my cousin who also lived there, who also worked there at the time. I didn't want to let anyone down, so I got hired. A couple months later, um, I was in a bakery. I did bakery, deli. I even helped out a little bit in the meat department. They had me on the registers on the floor. I was 18, I just turned 18, and I was, thrown into workforce. And it was hard because I was really depressed. Like couldn't cut my hair. It's hard to take care of myself. It was hard to just talk to people. Um, and I ended up getting a little too comfortable there and got myself in trouble a couple times. Then a couple years later, Forrest, he was getting promoted, becoming an assistant general manager in another building in Queens, and we were in the Brooklyn building at this time. So I saw that there was no way for me to get promoted here because all the stupidity and childishness that I brought into this warehouse. So I was like, it's time for me to have a change. He invited me over. I went, and within less than a year of me being there, I became a supervisor. So I was in the meat department, busting my butt, did whatever they wanted, went above and beyond. Uh, every day sweating bullets every single day. Always did more than I needed to just to show my worth. I became a supervisor for produce. Got trained on the forklift and EPJ. Got food safety certified in New York. Um, took a management class that Costco does. I was like the first round. So that's the class that they pick people in if you have like a future in the company, or they see you might have a future in. Um, then I got promoted to temporary foods manager because my foods manager was on leave. Now, around this time, I was not healthy. I might have looked a little skinnier, maybe a little more brolic, but I was dehydrated almost every single day, almost eating nothing at work, working 8 hours, 12 hours, staying up all night, and it caught up to me. Like my nervous system just couldn't take it, and I started becoming really depressed. Um, and then I had like bad like stomach issues, and then I also ended up having kidney stones because of me not taking care of myself. Uh, so I had to go on leave from work. While I was on leave, like my depression got really bad. I ended up having like a big argument with my mom and sister. And that day, I tried to kill myself. I just couldn't deal with anything anymore. I ended up staying in the psych ward for 2 weeks. They put me on medication and gave me a therapist. And when I came out, I got a phone call saying that they took the position away from me because I was out for too long, and I'm back as a supervisor. Um, so this was all really hard, especially like the first week of me coming out of the psych ward. My life was like really hard. I had a lot of struggles, a lot of things in my head that I couldn't like escape from. Um, but I ended up, going to the gym, taking better care of myself. I was pre-diabetic, and I no longer was. My blood pressure was through the roof, and no longer was. And I was calm. I was happy. I was collective. I was precise. I could think without just blurring stuff out. And I became more social. I wasn't. I maybe because of the medication, but I wasn't scared to talk to anyone and see how I felt the way I felt it. Um, I ended up talking to a supervisor and we became friends for a little bit, and nothing really came out of it. So I started, going on dating apps. That didn't work, and my depression really came back. I didn't see how my life was getting any better. And I was gonna quit Costco and try to do something else. I was on leave at this time for like depression still, and I ended up matching with this girl, Crystal, on a dating app. She lived in Jersey. We talked for like a month, and I ended up really liking her, like as a person. Not that I have feelings yet, but like as a person, seemed like a really sweet girl who's smart and like knows, ambitious. So I just, and she's really, 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 really pretty. Um, so we went on our first date. It was a little awkward, like most first dates. But it was fun. She was pretty. We went on a couple dates. We had a couple arguments about like politics, that bullshit, and we came to certain understandings about some things. And I ended up like really liking that girl. And again, this is why I say I still probably don't understand my emotions properly because I blurted out to her way too early, and I don't think it was true that like I loved her. And before I did that, though, my birthday was coming up, and I was supposed to do something with my family, and they basically forgot about me, which I don't blame them. I forgot them for years. This is me trying to reconnect with them, and they forgot me. They forgot me. They forgot about my birthday, the plans we had. So the only person they were supposed to come to like a bar or something, supposed to have like a little birthday celebration, and nobody showed up except my dad. And at the time, I wasn't really cool with him. So I ended up just leaving. I walked. This was summer. It was like 100 degrees out. I walked from where the party was supposed to be to the Queen Center Mall, which is like miles away. Um, and she was asking like, "Well, how's your birthday party?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm at the mall." She's like, "Why?" I told her. She's like, "I don't like that for you, etc., etc." She ended up taking me out like a week later, um, for my birthday. She paid for everything, which I felt iffy about. But at this time, like I didn't have money because I was on leave a bunch, and paying everything at where I live for my mom and my sister. Um, when she took me out on a date, really nice Italian food. Um, and then I think that's when later on, like that day or that week, I told her I loved her. I think it was because of that, which I don't think that was true. I just think I really appreciated it, but I didn't understand what I was feeling, so I just blurted that out. And that, I don't know, if it scared her or weirded out, or she just didn't have feelings for me. And after that, we were supposed to go. She told me, I sent her a big message about how I love her and why I do and all this other stuff. And she was like, I don't want you to have the wrong idea of like how this is gonna end. I don't want you to be disappointed. When she said something like that along those lines in the message, and when she said that, I kind of knew this wasn't gonna work out. Right when she said that, I knew I kind of fucked it up by saying I love you so early. Uh, then supposed to go on a date. She had to cancel because something was going on with her friend. And it's like the second time she canceled. So I asked her, "Is it gonna be everyday thing?" Or and she was like, "No." So we planned to go on a date some other time this week, and we set a date. When that day came, she never texted me back, and it was 3 days that went by, and like I got ghosted basically by her. And around this time, I stopped taking my medication. I stopped smoking weed, and I stopped smoking nicotine too. So I was going through a bunch of withdrawals. I had a bunch of fights with like random people on the subway and with family. So I texted her, "Hey, I'm guessing since you didn't text back, you don't want to try anything, whatever, whatever." Like I was trying to be nice about it, and then when I saw that she didn't, even look at it, and she was like still liking stuff on Instagram and stuff, I texted her, "Fuck you." Then after I texted her that same night, I sent an email to Costco and I resigned on the spot. An hour or two later, after I sent that email resigning, she texted me back saying that she can't give me the love that she feels like I deserve. That basically that I felt overwhelming. That like the only source of happiness I had was her, and that felt like too much, and that she was still healing and all those other things. So instead of being mature about it and just saying it is what it is, I got again because all the other things I was going through, I got like really upset. Um, I ended up posting something out of context. 'Cause I knew it would make her upset, make other people, question things. Um, so me and Forrest had a conversation with me, like prior to me, like when I told her like I was gonna try to date her because she seems like a really nice girl. He was like, "You're not really in the right space to date right now. You sure you want to do this? Because God forbid it doesn't work out, it's gonna hurt you a lot." Uh, and I ignored him. I said, "No." He said, "You sure you don't want to just find someone to have fun with instead of like looking for something serious right now because you're not in the right space?" And like, "No, I think I'm feeling better. I'm gonna go try it." And he ended up being right. I was in the right space. But I posted after like we stopped talking. I screenshotted what she sent me to him, and then he said like, "If like she should have just smashed, right?" Even though I don't think that way. Like I don't talk to women just to have sex with them. I just I can't do that. That doesn't feel right to me. Um, but I pretended like that was the case, and I screenshotted. I was like, "Yeah, that's what nice guys get," or something like that. I sent him. I took a screenshot of that and I posted online because I was just pissed off. I was pissed off at everything, not just her, because she didn't really do nothing wrong besides ghosting me. I was just pissed off at life. I was pissed off at myself. I didn't like how things are going. Um, and then we didn't talk. And then a week later, I texted her saying that like I miss her. I was very vulnerable at the time. I told her I miss her and everything. She was like, I don't care. Like you're talking shit on your stories and everything, which I was. Uh, and she was just like she doesn't have feelings for me. And as soon as she sent that, I stopped bothering her. I'm not gonna, you can't force someone to have feelings for you, So I left it alone. Since that day, I haven't gone outside. Um, I started smoking a lot of weed, like 5 blunts a day, at least 2,000 milligrams of edibles a week. I started drinking a bunch. Um, and then I started crying like every single day because I was the first girl that I feel like I had real feelings for, and and first person outside of Forrest that I actually connected with in a while. So that loss of like that companionship, that friendship, that routine that I lost, it hurt me a lot. So I was really hurt. Um, she blocked me and everything, which I fucking understand that. Um, and I just went on like a bender of just drugs, alcohol, and just being depressed in my house. I still to this day haven't done anything when it comes to like work. Like, it's been 6 months. I only know this girl for 3 months, and this is bothering me this much. Um, yeah, it's been 6 months since I last talked to her. Her birthday's coming up in April, and she moved on already. She has another boyfriend. Um, at least I think she does. I don't know. I end up stumbling her around her account. I have another account where I post poetry on. And she after not like, cause she like deactivated her account. Um, then like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was on that poetry account posting poetry. And she popped up, and when I saw her face, like my heart dropped, like it sank. Like I felt my heart in my stomach, and I just ran to the bathroom. I got like nauseous, and I got like dizzy, and I got upset, like really upset. Um, it wasn't at her though; it was at myself. I ended up deleting Instagram. My stuff was private anyway, so I couldn't see anything. But I just had to delete Instagram. I knew myself. I would just keep on looking at her profile picture. So I had to delete Instagram. I ended up downloading it back to post more poetry, and her profile popped up again. So I clicked it, and this time it was public. Uh, and she still has photos of like the dates we went on, not of like us together, nothing like that, but like what we were doing at the aquarium, the pottery, the restaurants, all that stuff. Um, yeah. Uh, when I saw that, I just started like reminiscing and thinking, and I got really depressed again. I thought I can't get the thought of killing myself out my head. Not because I'm sad, not because I can't be with her, not because of that bullshit. It's just I continue to self sabotage anything good I have going in my life. I continue to do that without even knowing I'm doing it. And when I do know I'm doing it, it's already too late. Something I just realized in my head. Everything that's ever bad happened to me is because of my impulses, my judgment, my judgment. I'm still not on medication. Still don't have a job. I still don't have any friends. I'm in the same position I was 10 years ago. Even though I'm more depressed than I was last year when I tried to kill myself, I don't want to die. But at the same time, I don't know how to live. I feel stuck. I feel stuck in my memories. I feel stuck in a cycle of pain that I don't know how to get out of. I'm trying, but I don't know how to do it. And I keep thinking about her, but honestly, I don't think I would ever try to be with her again or try to make it work. I think the thing I want the most is like, I guess, closure. Like, I want her to know that I don't have any animosity towards her. I want her to know that the way I reacted wasn't because of her, it's because of my own issues. Like, I want her to know that for me. but at the same time, I don't want to text her and get hurt or hurt her again. So I'm just leaving it be. Um, so now I'm at a point where I'm at a point where I don't talk to any of my family members at all. Most of them are blocked on my phone, on all my socials. My sister hates my guts. Both of them do at this point. I know my mother and father hate my guts. Uh, and I just don't know where to go from here.